Here's Bob. Good morning. Today the topic is going to be faith is the foundation of everything. We'll start with the chant, though. I think. Om Jyo Shantihi Antariksham Shantihi Prithvi Shantihi Apa Shantihi Oshadaya Shantihi Vanaspataya Shantihi Vishve Deva Shantihi Brahma Shantihi Sarvam Shantihi Shantireva Shantihi Sama Shantiredhi Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. May peace be on earth. May peace be in the heavens. May peace be in the waters. May peace be among the plants and herbs. May peace be amongst the gods. May peace be in the universe. May that peace of Brahman be in each and every one of us. Om, peace, peace, peace. Okay. Faith is the foundation of life. Swami Vijnanananda said, and Swami Premananda said, faith is the foundation of all life, spiritual and corporal. How do we manifest our faith? Okay, first we'll talk about the faith that gets us through every single day, not the faith in necessarily God, but the faith in the universe. Every one of us wakes up in the morning and we generally go on autopilot. We get up, we take care of our body, we get our coffee, and then we start planning our day in the complete trust and belief that we have that day. We believe that if we start planning, okay, and we are planning what we're going to do. We believe that if we exercise, eat well, we will get stronger, we will get thinner, we'll get fitter, we will live longer. Now, we truly believe this or we wouldn't bother. We also believe that if we're kind and generous to people, that will come back to us and we will feel better about ourselves. We believe that if we apply ourselves in our studies, in school, and we get good grades, and we do well, that we will have a better opportunity in our future life. We will have better job opportunities. We will have more success. And the one thing that we truly believe in is every time we get in that car, we believe that everyone's going to follow the road signs. We honestly come to a stop sign and we stop. We do not anticipate people running them. It's the odd exception when they do, and we're horrified. This surety of belief in all these little mundane things that we encounter every single day, we take for granted. We don't even think about it. That's the autopilot part of our lives. Most of these beliefs, the autopilot beliefs, are dictated to the external world, to our external world and our navigation through Maya, I call it. We navigate through Maya in the most successful way we think we can. Now, that surety of belief that we have every day is faith. That is faith directed to the outside. We also then extend it to trust. We trust that the majority of the population will obey the laws of the land. Daily we're bombarded with exceptions. But when we take well, we'll get to that. We trust that the majority will follow the laws of our country. We trust that our electricity, gas, water services will be on when we get up in the morning. We trust that, unless the power company or the water company tells us we're having power outages, it's going to be out for 4 hours. And we believe them that it will be out for 4 hours. We trust our doctors when we go to them and they tell us, now you should definitely get more exercise and you should do this and you should do that. And perhaps this medication will help your little ailment. But we trust them. Now, we don't trust blindly. Most of us have done some research into what we place our trust. So, but this gets us, this is how we navigate the world. The one thing we also trust, which is kind of an anachronism for me, that our computers are going to perform properly. Mine never does, but that's okay. Other people's do. And we're quite horrified when they keep having glitches. But we live with this kind of trust and belief every single minute of every day. When you stop and think about it, do you think every time you walk out the door about all of the possibilities of everything that could happen to you? Or do you believe that it's going to be pretty much like yesterday and pretty much like tomorrow? This is an assumption that we make and we live with it. What happens when this trust and our beliefs are broken and we see these things that happen on the news, be it weather, be it violence, be it whatever it is, be it the pandemic, our trust in the natural working of the world is broken slightly, and we go, what's going to happen? And we're actually quite offended and aghast because it's not something we expect. It's the total unexpected. And then how do I deal with it? It brings into question our ideals, actually, because most of us, when we're babies, when they're born, are not untrusting. They have to learn that through experiences that happen. Babies are pretty content whatever you do with them. They're sort of like kittens. Bad analogy, but they are sort of like kittens. You can put them down, and as long as you're there and they know, they have an innate belief that they will be taken care of until proven otherwise. And we go through life with that kind of innate belief that everything is in the order it should be until we have experiences in our life. And then we go, why? Why did this happen? What's happening? What is it that's going wrong? Why can't I trust that anymore? What's at this point, what's the breakdown of our society and morality? What's the breakdown of integrity? We've always believed in people's integrity. We look for people that we can believe in their integrity, but with the current climate, even integrity is in question. And what happened to honesty? It used to be that people did not need contracts. No one was going to sue anyone. They shook hands, and their word was as good as a written legal document. These kind of questions, the questioning of what's going on out there that does not match what I believe should be going on, is what brings us to question even more deeply what's happening. And that usually we're shaken up. It leads us to our spiritual quest, because we have to find a way to put the external world into the paradigm that we know is true. And we all have a paradigm inside that we have believed from our moment of birth, it's bigger than us. There is a cohesiveness about it, and it is not a dangerous, scary place to be. It is a place of love and kindness. When our faith has been shaken by doubt, usually then depression sets in, because we tend to spiral down. When you start doubting everything and you feel you can't trust anything, then we get very, very depressed and negative, because it looks like a very black hole. With that, we lose our self-confidence. We don't think we can achieve what we had wanted to achieve. Of course, by then, we don't want to achieve anything because we're sitting there in a little glum hole. But we start to question, and it starts with questioning why this, what is the reality? And that comes to searching. Many of us search out different, we take different paths of searching. Some of us search through the physical perfection. Some search through mental perfection. Some search through spiritual perfection. And we continue searching. We read books, we go to different places, we look up things on the internet, we go on YouTube, we find things that speak to our heart. But it also we start debating it with our friends to see if we truly are on the right track. If we really, because sometimes, I know it has happened to me, I have been struck with an idea and I think, oh, that's the most wonderful thing in the world. Well, not quite the most wonderful thing in the world, and it suddenly is kind of like, really? And I put all that effort into that? But it happens. So we debate it with our friends and people and kind of bounce ideas off other people, which often leads then to arguing. And this is where so many of our faiths have gotten in so much of our society. Instead of listening to each other, we want to prove that ours is right. And so we argue. But what we really, if we want peace of mind and peace in our lives, what we each have to do is continue that search until we find the place that in your heart and soul feels like home. And I know this is what happens when you're searching. You start an honest search, and believe me, the Lord will put it right in front of you. From my own experience, I was not even searching for anything, actually. It was chaotic, and I was kind of hapless, to tell you the truth. But by the grace of God, I came to Santa Barbara and met Swami Prabhupada, and just that meeting, I was convinced and sure that whatever it was that he knew gave him that peace and love, and I wanted to know how he did it. Everyone has to find that place that speaks to their heart and soul. We don't all find exactly the same place, but whatever it is that speaks to your heart and your soul, and you feel, I've come home, then dive deeply into it. Now, when I say dive deeply, Swami Vidyanananda had a where he said, "And you better leave these debates and arguments alone. We have a brain of very limited capacity. And for realizing God, all this hair splitting is of no use. What you require is burning faith in God. In order to be firmly established in that faith, you may raise one or two valid points, but nothing more. Our arguments are just like armchair discussions. They lead us nowhere. We argue about God, and then we go home and lie down in bed. That's not religion, and it does not contribute to peace of mind." And I can say quite honestly that that's probably how I treated religion, because I was raised in a church-going religious family. But I thought about it on Sundays in church, and then I didn't. And I have a feeling that probably not so much anymore, because I think the climate has made the younger generations be more soul-searching than I was. I was just coming off the 50s and the 60s. The 60s made us look a little more deeply, but the 50s were pretty complacent. So in order to realize God, which I think you can call it God, you can call it the eternal, you can call it the infinite. Einstein called it the infinite, and he was trying to find it also. But we must have faith in the concept that there is an eternal infinity that is also us. We must know that we're strong. We must know that we can do anything. And we must know that with patience and perseverance, we can achieve this goal. I'm going to quote Swami Vivekananda again. He said, "Faith there is, certainly. There is nobody in the world without faith. Without it, you would not be able to take a single breath." I had to think about that a little while, and I thought, okay. I thought breathing was automatic, but to keep going every day is not automatic. So we must cultivate and strengthen our faith in order to reach our goal. And to cultivate faith is a lot easier than cultivating doubt. Much, much easier. And you tend to be a little more cheerful when you're cultivating faith that you will be taken care of, that the world is not a dark, dismal place, and you don't have to doubt every person you meet and think they're a threat. I know from my own experience in the bookstore, which was really funny. I was on the desk in the bookstore, and it faced the doorway, and the sun was shining straight in my eyes, and someone walked in, and I chirpily said, "Hi, can I help you with anything?" And the fellow walked in a little further, and he was covered in chains and tattoos. And I went, and it just got enough, and I thought, this is good. He said, "Yeah, you can help me find a cookbook for my mother." And I went, okay. And I thought, it was God's grace that I didn't see him before I said something, because then I didn't set up any barriers. It was like God had reached in and said, "This is a good person, you're a good person, just greet them with complete faith and trust." And they return it. So it's helpful in everything if we use discernment and discrimination about everything we're hearing in today's world. I noticed we just had a friend come up, and someone had posted on Nextdoor, which everyone posted something about their neighborhood, which was not accurate, not even slightly accurate, and it was disparaging. I happened to see another thing on the internet that said someone had either jumped or fallen off a cliff. Well, I read another news report and it said that they had been trapped on the cliff and it was total accident. It was not jumping or falling, and that was from a reliable news source. So try to use discrimination and discernment on what you're reading. See if the facts are facts. Judge it by your own experience, and if you wonder, look it up. Ask someone who's near it. In most of our interactions in life, we have not been taken advantage of. When you stop and think about all your interactions that you have every day in your banking, in your encounters with people in grocery stores and every store, usually people are extremely helpful and extremely kind. There is the odd exception, and they are exceptions, but judge the world from your own experience and don't put all the emphasis on the negative experiences in your life. Think about all the positive experiences you have. One of our nuns, when she was in Calcutta, left her wallet in a train station on the counter, had her passport, money, everything. Now, in Calcutta, there are 1 billion people, and 90% of them are very poor. By the time she realized that she had left it, there was some kind of very, very Shudra class person coming up and say, "Madam, I think this is yours." There was not one thing taken out of it. It was completely intact. Now, if we can concentrate on those kind of experiences that we have in our life. Yes, we're all going to have negative experiences because good and bad are part of the world. But don't put all your memories on the negative ones. In order to do that, we have to really evaluate what we have done in our lives. So often the terrible experiences shocked our minds so much that they loom larger than they are. They loom much larger than they are. When you can see people who are put in horrific, absolutely horrific experiences and come out with faith in the goodness of humanity, and you compare your experience, your negative experience, whatever it may have been, to theirs, we see exactly what kind of advantage and good fortune we have, how positive our lives have been. It helps to compare. Swami Swahananda used to tell us, when you have the flu, it's just awful. Oh, I'm so sick, I've got a fever. When you find out your best friend has the flu, you go, oh, he's got it too. And then when you find out it's all over, okay, everyone has it. Now it's not quite as bad. Well, guess what? The world has COVID. And this is putting our ability to deepen our faith and strengthen ourselves. Instead of looking at all of the negatives, as we are shown every day on the news, because I look at the news every day to find out what the weather's going to be. And instead, I get COVID-19 in your area. And I mean, it's COVID-19, what the numbers are doing. And I go, oh, okay. Now, we have to really stop and evaluate the situation and look at it. It's an unknown situation. We cannot be stupid. We have to take precautions and use common sense and do things in a common sense way. Wear your masks, wash your hands, do exactly what they say. It's not that big a deal. Something your mother probably taught you way back, except for the mask. Wash your hands before you eat. Wash your hands when you come in. I mean, we all had it. And it's not a big deal. But this is testing. The stay-at-home orders are testing our stamina. And they're testing our ability to emphasize the positives. Because when we are stuck at home by ourselves and don't have the complete contact with our usual circle of friends, it's very easy to get into negative thinking. And negative thinking actually is, well, not actually, I mean, it's extremely detrimental to our own physical health, mental health, and spiritual health. Now, Winston Churchill, got to keep practicing that positive thinking. He led Britain during the bombing of London, and he said, success is not final. Failure isn't fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. So we all have to have the courage to continue to emphasize the positive things that have come out of this pandemic. And if we have to go so far as to make a list and put the negatives and the positives and see which one comes out more. Because I think many of us have found there have been a lot of positive things of this pandemic. I know I have heard that more people have gotten into their meditation. They've gotten more into actually studying what their religion, whatever it may be, which gives you peace of mind because you're not in yourself. You are joining the larger infinite reality. Everything that we experience in this world is good, bad, balance, balance. It's always balanced. It may seem out of balance right now, but it isn't. In the overall picture of the whole thing, it's always in balance. We thought that too many wars. Well, there aren't too many wars right now because everyone's fighting the battle of the disease, the virus. And all the countries are working very, very hard in tandem to create a solution, an inoculation. We're not fighting each other, we're actually helping each other. So that's a positive that's come out of it. They're not even competing, they just want it done. They have, it's not them against us, it's the virus against the world. And the world and the people want to win. We can choose these things. We can choose what information we listen to. There was a saying that I got somewhere where life is change, always. And we know that from our own lives. Growth is optional. So whoever it was that I wrote the quote down, said, choose wisely. We can choose to grow from all of these experiences, or we can choose to let them overwhelm us. People are facing all kinds of things every day, and it's more immediate things, more, we face, the majority of us, a vague fear of we might catch COVID. Other people are facing things that are illnesses that are much more imminent, that they are facing dying right now. They are facing that, and we can say, well, they're not afraid of the unknown because it's known now. But people being afraid of the unknown is basically a fear of death. And it will happen to everyone. It just does. We came in, we were born, we will die. And another one said, when you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. So, I mean, think how that would be, where you have such faith in God, Brahman, the infinite, whatever it is, that you are not afraid. Now, another way we get that, this is another quote from this fellow that I don't know who it was. We are the embodiment of the information we choose to accept and act upon. We get information every single day from so many sources. To change our circumstances, we need to change our thinking and our subsequent actions. It's kind of like that AA one, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's crazy. When we run into something that is not working for us, that's when we need to put our limited capacity brain into action and say, why isn't it working? What can I do differently? Not try and change the outside, because we're not going to have any luck doing that. We will never have any luck doing that. We have to have the faith that our inner being is that infinite and we can change ourselves. And the thing with faith is that it's difficult at first. We don't want you to have blind faith. Blind faith excludes your brain. No one wants people to act robotic or to just simply believe because someone told them. Faith is taking that leap and saying, I will believe this, but I will test it and I will see how it is. Like Maharaj said, just do it for 3 years and come, if you have not, meditate for 3 years, and if you have not made any progress, come back and slap my face. So no one is asking anyone to believe it because you read it, believe it because someone said it. Believe it because you in your heart know you can get there. And change your behavior and your actions to make that manifest. So you take the leap of faith, and then you, as Maharaj said, meditate. Usually with that leap of faith, you'll start to have hints or experiences. Those small experiences are, you take a leap of faith towards God, God takes 100 steps towards you. gives you some experiences to intensify your faith, let you know that there is something there. So you take the leap of faith, you have a little experience. The experience deepens your faith, and with practice and perseverance, the experiences grow more, the peace in your life grows more, and the faith is so strong that it can't be shaken. Even when things are not going tremendously well. Because there will be dry spots. There will be places in your spiritual life where you keep going and you think, I can't even meditate anymore. And let alone and Jopam's just going like, I'm not even thinking about it. There will be dry spots. But hopefully, you will have had enough of a taste of what's coming that you will continue with the faith that will deepen. And with that, it does. As far as I know, most spiritual, even the saints in the Catholic Church, the dark night of the soul, the dryness of the practice, but they persevere. Depends on what you desire. And I think most of us who have come into this practice, one of our desires is to know God. Whether we call it God, Brahman, the infinite truth, whatever. We want to know it in our being, not just in our head. We want to know that. So, the end of the quote that I read you earlier from Vijnanananda, when he said, arguments and discussion, you can raise 2 valid points, but nothing more. The end of his quote is, unless you have faith, arguments and discussions will only cloud the issue and create confusion. Take, for instance, Kant and other philosophers. In the end, they say one cannot be sure that God exists. Although behind the creation there is something which guides it in an orderly fashion. What does all this amount to? On the other hand, one can see God, talk to God, and touch God. Do they say such things? Then what is the use of their philosophy? What do they gain by reading these works in philosophy? The only thing required is faith. And with faith comes success, which is why it is this foundation of life and religion. Now, does anyone have any comments, questions, or anything to add? All's quiet on the Western Front. Okay. Then, I don't have a list. Pravrajika will be speaking in, Lord, when?
Oh, wow. The 20th.
I'm sorry?
The 20th, right?
Yeah, the 20th. She'll be speaking on the 20th, and what's your topic?
The incarnation full of grace and truth.
The incarnation full of grace and truth. She does the good talks. Well, it's good to see those of you that I can see. And Anand, thank you for showing your face again. And I think I will close with a chant. Om Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya, Avir Moyadhi, Rudrayate Dakshinam Kam Tenamam Pahinicham. I can never get it. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Light us through and through and guide us evermore with thy loving presence. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto you all. Bob, I see you exercising. Okay, good to see you. Whoa.